Listen to me, you little. No, you listen to me. Ogechi cut her off. I may be new here, but I'm not blind. You love power. But what happens when the wrong person watches you abuse it? You should be very careful, Mira. Pride always comes before a fall. Do you even have any idea how ridiculous you sound? You even threatened me because I stood up for Mr. Dozie, this elderly man. You were mistreating him. You must be very, very insecure if you think bully people gives you power. Mira hands balled into fist. Ogechi, you will regret this. Ogechi raised the eyebrow. We shall see.
Once upon a time, in the great city of Lagos, there was a wealthy and powerful businessman named Mr. Dozie. He had built a multi-billion-dollar empire from scratch and was respected across the country. But despite all his success, there was one thing that troubled him: his only son, Kingsley. Kingsley was handsome, rich, and well educated, but he had one big flaw. He only chased after flashy, materialistic women. Every time he introduced a girlfriend, Mr. Dozier would test them, and each time they failed. These women only wanted his money, his expensive cars, and the luxurious vacations. None of them truly loved him. Just like the case that happened between Kingsley and Victory, the lady he introduced to his parents. On that very day, Mr. Dozier and his wife Doris sat in their elegant living room waiting. Their son Kingsley had earlier called, excited to introduce his girlfriend, his wife to be Victory. Soon, Kingsley walked in, holding Victory's hand. She was tall, fair-skinned, and dressed in a tight, expensive gown. Her long wig flowed over her shoulders, and her handbag was from a top designer brand. Kingsley smiled proudly. Dad, Mom, meet Victory, the woman I love, and I want to marry her. Victory gave a small nod and sat down without greeting them properly. She crossed her legs and looked around the house. Mr. Dozier frowned slightly but spoke calmly. Welcome, Victory. How are you? Victory barely glanced at him. I'm fine. Then she turned to Kingsley. Babe, I'm thirsty. Do you have chilled imported juice? Mrs. Doris raised an eyebrow. Imported juice. Kingsley chuckled nervously. Mom, Victory likes quality things. Mrs. Doris sighed and looked at her husband. Mr. Dozier leaned forward and asked, so, Victory, tell us about yourself. What do you do? Victory flipped her hair. Work. Me. No way. I don't do that. Kingsley, my love, here, takes care of me. Mrs. Doris frowned. So you don't work? Victory scoffed. A woman should enjoy, not stress herself with work. A real man provides for his woman. Mr. Dozier nodded slowly. Hmm. And what if Kingsley loses everything one day? What will you do? God forbid. Victory snapped loudly. Lose everything. Ha! Sir, is that what you wish for your own son? This can't happen, oh. Kingsley is rich and he must remain rich. In fact, that's why I'm with him. If he ever goes broke, I will just find another rich boyfriend who likes to suffer. The room went silent. Mrs. Doris opened her mouth. Huh? Mr. Dozier's eyes darkened. Kingsley, however, quickly defended her. Dad, she didn't mean it that way, Dad. Victory looked at him. No, babe, I meant it though. Why should I suffer? Love without money is nonsense. So, babe, let them get the facts right. Mrs. Dozie folded her arms. So, are you trying to tell us now that you love my son because of his money? Hmm. Oh God, Victory scoffed. Love is good, madam. But love does not pay bills. Will I eat love? Who love help? Mrs. Doris' eyes widened. Madam, is that how you talk to your future mother-in-law? Victory rolled her eyes. I respect people who respect me. Oh. Kingsley groaned. Victory, Victory, stop. Not now, not now. You're talking to my parents. Your soon-to-be mother-in-law and father-in-law. Calm down now. Victory looked at him. Tell your parents to talk to me politely. They are interrogating me. I don't like it. Mr. Dozier's deep voice cut through. Young lady, let me ask you one thing. If Kingsley was a poor man, would you even look at him? Oh, now do you hear what they are asking me, Kingsley? Even your parents are wishing you to be poor. Eh? In fact, let me sing this song for you. Poverty, the number you are calling is not available. It's not available, sir. Eh? I don't do broke men. I can never be broke. Broke? No, not for me. Mr. Dozier leaned back and shook his head. Kingsley, this girl is not a wife. She is a ticking time bomb. Mrs. Doris added, exactly. And she will not explode in my house. God forbid. Another one has failed. Victory grabbed her purse and stood up. Kingsley, I'm leaving here. Meet me outside. I'm done with this drama. Kingsley sighed, torn between his parents' wisdom and his feelings. But deep inside, he knew the truth, that Victory's character was totally bad. After the tense meeting with his parents, Kingsley refused to back down. He needed to prove that Victory was the right woman for him. So he called her and arranged a meeting with her parents. Chief Okafor, a rich pot-bellied businessman in his late 50s, sat across from him, sipping a glass of expensive wine. Madam Okafor, a fair-skinned woman dressed in a heavily beaded gown, examined Kingsley with sharp eyes. Victory sat beside them, her arms folded, still foamy from the previous encounter with Kingsley's parents. Chief Okafor cleared his throat. Young man, my daughter told me about what happened with your parents. Kingsley sighed. Yes, sir. They didn't exactly welcome her the way I expected. Madam Okafor scoffed. Expected? Are they blind? My daughter is a queen. What is there not to welcome, eh? Victory smirked. Exactly, mommy. They were just looking for an excuse to embarrass me. They don't like me. Chief Okafor leaned forward. Kingsley, let's be honest here. What is the problem? Eh? Your parents think my daughter is not good enough for you? I know they are billionaires. They are more wealthy than us. But they should know that my daughter is a queen. A queen and more. Kingsley hesitated for a second before shaking his head. No, 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 sir. No, no, no. They just don't understand her the way I do. Victory rolled her eyes. Dad, they were looking for faults. First, they expected me to greet them like a servant. Then they started questioning my lifestyle like I owed them an explanation. Madam Okafor gasped. Ha! What nonsense! My daughter is a prize. She should be the one interviewing them, not the other way round. Kingsley forced a smile. That's what I was trying to explain to them. Victory is just straightforward and confident. She's not the type to fake humility. Chief Okafor chuckled. Kingsley, I like you. So let me give you some advice. Don't let your parents control your life. You are a man, not a boy. By now, you should have already married my daughter. You are delaying. Kingsley nodded. Victory smirked at him. See, babe, my parents understand. Chief Okafor continued. Your father is a billionaire, but does he expect his daughter-in-law to be poor? My daughter is high class.
She deserves the best. If your parents don't see that, then maybe they don't deserve a son like you. Kingsley clenched his jaw. I love victory. I don't care what they say. Madam Okafor smiled like who just won a jackpot. Good! Then don't let them ruin what you have. In fact, if they don't approve of the marriage, why not just marry her without their blessing? Kingsley froze for a second. Marry her without his parents' approval? Was he ready for that? Chief Okafor laughed. Think fast, oh. Think fast, young man. A woman like my daughter doesn't wait forever. Kingsley nodded, but deep inside, doubt was starting to creep in. A few days after his meeting with Victory's parents, Kingsley decided to take her out on a shopping spree to prove his love. He wanted to make her happy and show that he wasn't afraid to spend on her. But now, 3 hours had passed and he was exhausted. Kingsley's hands were full of designer shopping bags. His bank alerts were piling up and his patience were wearing thin. Victory, however, was just getting started. Babe, hurry up. Let's check out the new Chanel collection, she said, dragging him towards another store. Kingsley sighed, struggling under the weight of the bags. Victory, we have been shopping for hours. Don't you think we should stop? Victory rolled her eyes dramatically. Stop. Kingsley, don't get me upset right now. Are you broke? If you are tired, just say so. Don't embarrass me. Why are you acting like you can't afford this? Come on, you are bigger than this, Kingsley. Kingsley swallowed his frustration. It's not about the money, Victory. We've already bought over 12 handbags, 17 pairs of heels, 16 wristwatches, and 25 perfumes. Isn't that enough? Can you finish all this in 3 months? Victory gasped dramatically. Enough! Are you listening to yourself? I thought you were a billionaire's son, but you are whining like a broke man. Don't make me get upset and do what you regret. Kingsley clenched his jaw. It's not about being broke. It's about being reasonable. Victory scoffed. Please, Kingsley, if you can't handle a queen like me, just say it. I go for high-class men. You know now. You know how it works. Are you a JJC? Victory, that's enough. You are acting spoiled and ungrateful. I am not your ATM, he shouted. The entire store went silent. Victory's eyes darkened. Without warning, she raised her hand and slapped him hard. Wah! Kingsley staggered back, his face burning from the impact. Gasps echoed around him as shocked shoppers turned to watch. Victory pointed a manicured finger at him. How dare you? How dare you raise your voice at me in public? Do you know my worth? Do you know who I am? If you can't take care of me like a rimmer, then you don't deserve me. Get out! Kingsley's heart pounded. He touched his cheek, still in shock. People were whispering. Some pulled out their phones to record. He stared at Victory, his chest heavy. Did you just slap me? Victory folded her arms. And I will do it again and again and again if you ever embarrass me like that. Kingsley dropped all the shopping bags. He took a deep breath, his hands shaking with anger. Victory, I think I've had enough. This thing we have going on, it is over. Read my lips. I said it is over. Victory frowned. And what does that mean? Kingsley turned and walked away. Victory's eyes widened. Kingsley! Kingsley! Come back here! But for the first time since they started dating, he didn't look back.
Kingsley walked into the house, his face dark with frustration. He barely acknowledged the house staff who greeted him as he headed straight for the stairs. Just as he was about to disappear into his room, his father, Mr. Dozie, called out from the dining room, "Kingsley, you are just in time. Join us for dinner." Kingsley exhaled sharply and turned. "I'm not hungry, Dad." His mother, Doris, frowned. "Not hungry? You left this house happy, taking that girl shopping, and now you can't even eat." Mr. Dozier placed his cutlery down, folded his arms, and smiled. Aren't you going to tell your mother and I what your spoiled girlfriend did to you? That she slapped you?" Kingsley's head snapped up. "What? How did you even know that, Dad?" he asked, shocked. Mr. Dozier let out a small laugh. "Have you forgotten that a shopping mall is my subsidiary? I own it, son. Do you think I wouldn't hear about my own son getting humiliated in public?" Doris gasped, slamming her fork on the table. "Slap? That girl laid her hands on my son?" Kingsley rubbed his forehead. "Mom, it wasn't that serious." "Oh, it was serious enough," Mr. Dozier interrupted. "That girl has no respect for you. She's only with you because of what she can get." Doris pointed at Kingsley, her voice filled with frustration. "Didn't we warn you? But no, you were defending her, proving to us that she was different. Kingsley, open your eyes before it is too late." I was so focused on proving she loved me that I ignored all the signs. He leaned back in his chair and exhaled deeply. "I'm just tired. I have had so many girls in my company, even some are trying to get my attention, but I ignored them because I didn't want to get heartbroken." Mr. Dozier smiled, a fatherly warmth in his eyes. "Everything will be fine, my son. You just need to start focusing on the right things." He reached for his glass of water and took a sip before adding, "Speaking of which, I will be resuming work at the company first thing on Monday." Kingsley nodded. "All right, I will schedule a board meeting and announce you as the chairman again." But Mr. Dozier shook his head. "No, no, 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 no. Don't announce me as chairman." Kingsley frowned. "Then what do you want me to do?" Mr. Dozier smiled. "Make me a cleaner." "A what? Dad, that's ridiculous. You are the owner of the company." Kingsley sat up straight, confused. "You want me to make you a cleaner, Dad? Are you even hearing yourself?" Doris looked at her husband sharply. "Cleaner? In your own company? Dozier, have you lost your mind?" Mr. Dozier chuckled. "I want to see the true colors of the people in that company, including your so-called loyal workers. When people think you are beneath them, that's when they reveal their real selves." Doris rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "So what now? You'll be sweeping the floors while people walk past you, Dozier? I'm not in support of this, so better think twice. I'm never in support of this. I don't like this idea. Mr. Dozier laughed softly. "Doris, don't be dramatic. It's just a temporary plan." Kingsley gritted his teeth. "And what happens when people find out? You will ruin your reputation for nothing." Mr. Dozier leaned forward. "If a reputation is built on a lie, it is better to destroy it and rebuild with the truth." Doris huffed in frustration. "And what about me, Dozier? You want people to mock me, saying my husband has gone mad?" Mr. Dozier grinned. "Let them talk. In the end, results will silence them." Kingsley exhaled loudly and shook his head. "Dad, this is madness." On a very early Monday morning, the entire company gathered at the grand entrance to welcome their CEO, Mr. Kingsley Uchenna. The staff lined up neatly, their faces bright with enthusiasm. The red carpet rolled out, and a few executives stood at the front, waiting for their boss to arrive. The sound of a luxury black SUV pulling up made everyone straighten their posture. The driver quickly stepped out and rushed to open the door. Kingsley emerged, his wristwatch gleaming under the morning sun. A round of applause erupted as the employees greeted him. "Good morning, sir. Welcome, sir. Hope you had a great weekend, sir." Kingsley nodded and smiled, but his eyes shifted immediately to the man standing at the far end holding a mop and a bucket. It was his father, dressed in a faded blue janitor uniform, an old cap pulled low over his forehead, and slightly worn-out shoes. Mr. Dozie stood casually, gripping the mop like it was a royal staff. His eyes held a mischievous glint as he observed the crowd reaction. Kingsley's stomach twisted. He had spent all weekend arguing about this ridiculous idea, yet here his father was fully committed to the role of a cleaner. He wanted to yell in frustration, but he had to play along. He cleared his throat, plastered a professional smile on his face, and turned to his assistant. Hmm, I see we have a new staff member. Kingsley's voice was calm. His assistant, Mr. Johnson, turned, as if noticing Mr. Dozie for the first time. "Oh, yes, sir. He's one of the new janitors assigned to the cleaning department." Kingsley nodded and extended a hand towards him. "What's your name?" Mr. Dozie bowed his head slightly, playing his role perfectly. "Sir, my name is Dozie. Just Dozie." "All right, Dozie," he said. "Welcome to the company. I hope you take your job seriously." Mr. Dozie nodded. "I will, sir. I promise to work very hard." A few employees snickered in the background. "Good. Now, everyone, let's get to work." Kingsley forced another smile. Mr. Dozie wiped his forehead with the back of his hand. The morning had already begun, yet he had already been sent on 5 unnecessary errands, all by the same person, Mira, the human resource manager. She was a tall, elegant woman in her early 30s, with a sharp face and an evil, sharper tongue. She carried herself with a bossy attitude, and everyone knew she had her eyes set on Kingsley. And right now, she was enjoying torturing the old cleaner. "Hey, you cleaner!" Mira snapped her fingers, pointing at Mr. Dozie, who had just finished mopping the hallway. He turned slowly, gripping the mop tightly. "Yes, ma," he asked in a tired voice. "Go and get me a bottle of water from the executive fridge and be fast about it." Mr. Dozie nodded politely and walked towards the break room, but before he could take 2 steps, "Wait!" Mira clapped her hands. "Drop that mop first. Then, when you bring my water, wipe my floor properly. The last time you did not clean it very well." A few staff members giggled in the background. Some of them pitied the poor man, but none dared to speak. Mr. Dozie remained silent. He knew his test was working. People were showing their real character. But someone was watching. A new typist, Ogechi. She had joined the company just 2 weeks ago. She was tall, with soft brown skin and bright, intelligent eyes. Unlike the others, she had been observing the way Mira treated the cleaner, and she did not like it. And then it happened. Mr. Dozie deliberately staggered, then collapsed onto the floor. His bucket tipped over, spilling water everywhere. Gasps filled the hallway. Ogechi was the first to react. "Oh my God!" She rushed forward, kneeling beside him. "Sir, are you okay?"
She grabbed his arm, helping him sit up. His breathing was slightly heavy, and he clutched his chest as if in pain. Mira clicked her tongue loudly. Ha! What nonsense is this? Are you not a man? Small walk, and you are falling like a whole sack of rice, Yakata. Ogechi turned sharply, glaring at her. Excuse me, why are you disturbing this old man like this? He's clearly tired. Mira laughed mockingly. And who asked you to talk? Do you know how things work here? Small girl like you, fresh in this company, and you think you can challenge me? Ogechi stood her ground. I don't care how things work here. This man is old enough to be your father, yet you keep treating him like trash. He's wicked. Mira folded her arms, her voice turning icy. Listen, little girl, if you know what's good for you, you better mind your business. I don't care if he's old, young, or even crawly. I give orders and he obeys. She turned back to Mr. Dozie. Now get up and do what I asked you to do. Ogechi shook with anger. You are unbelievable. This is why people like you will never find true happiness. Wicked and arrogant. Mira's face darkened. You must be mad to talk to me like that. Are you trying to lose your job? Ogechi lifted her chin boldly. If speaking the truth will cost me my job, so be it. Ogechi's face was flushed with anger, while Mira stood with her arms folded, her expression smug and triumphant. But before things could escalate further, Mr. Dozie quickly grabbed Ogechi's hand, squeezing it slightly. Please, my dear, calm down. I don't want you to lose your job because of me. Ogechi looked at him. But sir, no. Dozie shook his head firmly. Some battles are not worth fighting in the open. Please, just let it go. Mira smirked, pleased with herself. You see, even this old man knows his place. Before Ogechi could respond, a strong, authoritative voice echoed down the hallway. What's going on here? Everyone froze. Kingsley walked in. Mira immediately stepped forward, putting on her best concerned face. Sir, I'm glad you are here. This wretched cleaner has been causing nothing but trouble since morning, falling on the floor, causing sins, and now his little defender here. She pointed at Ogechi, had the audacity to insult me. Sir, we can't have such people here. You need to deal with them immediately. Kingsley turned a sharp gaze on Mira. His expression darkened. Excuse me? Mira blinked. I said, I heard what you said, Kingsley cut in. And you expect me to deal with an elderly man just because he's a cleaner? But sir, enough! Kingsley's voice echoed across the hallway. Mr. Dozie suddenly stepped forward and bowed slightly. Please, sir, forgive me. It's my fault. I was careless and I caused this misunderstanding. Please don't be angry. He gave his father a long, searching look. Fine, he turned to Mira. His expression still hard. This conversation isn't over. Mira forced a smile, trying to mask her nervousness. Yes, sir. Kingsley glanced at Ogechi briefly, then turned on his heel and walked away. As soon as he left, Mira shot Ogechi a warning glare. You will regret this. Ogechi wasn't afraid. She simply turned to Mr. Dozie and whispered, This isn't over. You shouldn't have to apologize for our wickedness. Mr. Dozie smiled slightly. Ha! This girl, she has fire in her heart. It had been a long 3 months since Mr. Dozie took up his position as a cleaner. During this time, he had seen everything: the arrogance, wickedness, and dishonesty of some employees. But he had also seen something rare: a woman with a good heart, Ogechi. She was different from the others, while Mira and her followers had treated him like death. Ogechi had stood up for him even at the risk of losing her job, and today everything would change. The company top executives Managers and staff gathered in the boardroom. Kingsley sat at the head of the table, but beside him, instead of a new chairman, the old cleaner, Mr. Dozie, sat humbly. Mira rolled her eyes. Why is this janitor here? Kingsley glanced at his father, who gave him a small nod. Kingsley stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an important announcement to make. The new chairman of this company is... A pause for dramatic effect. Then he turned to Mr. Dozie. Sir, would you like to do the honors? Slowly, Mr. Dozie stood up and faced the crowd. I am Dozie Uchenna, the real owner of this company. Gasps filled the room. Mira's face turned pale. What? This can't be true. She stuttered. You, you are, you are just a cleaner. Dozie smiled calmly. A cleaner, or the man who built this company from nothing? He took a step forward, his presence commanding the entire room. I disguised myself as a cleaner to see the true nature of my employees, and what I saw was disappointing. His eyes landed on Mira. You, Mira, you used your position to bully and humiliate others. You treated people like dirt simply because you thought they were beneath you. Mira began to shake. Sir, please, oh, I didn't mean it. I was just following company culture. Dozie raised a hand. Enough! You are fired with immediate effect. No, sir. Please, I can change. Mira fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Dozie sighed. I gave you enough chances, but you failed the test. He turned to Kingsley. Make sure a termination letter is processed immediately. Kingsley nodded. Mira was dragged out by security. After the meeting, Dozie turned to Ogechi. My dear, he said warmly, I want to thank you for your kindness. When others mocked me, you defended me, and for that you deserve a reward. Ogechi blushed, shaking her head. Sir, I did not do it for any reward. I just did what was right. Dozie smiled. Exactly why you deserve it. He turned to Kingsley. Son, you said you were tired of fake women, right? Kingsley nodded. Yes, Dad, I am tired. Everywhere fake women. Oh. Dozie gestured to Ogechi. Then open your eyes. The right one has been in front of you all along. Kingsley looked at Ogechi, and for the first time, he truly saw her. Her kindness, her strength, her beauty, everything. A slow smile spread across his face. Ogechi, would you give me the chance to prove myself to you? Ogechi giggled shyly. Well, Mr. Kingsley, let's see how well you do. Kingsley quickly interrupted. Don't call me Mr. Kingsley. Call me your love. Everyone laughed and cheered as the two held their hands. Dozie patted Kingsley on the back. That's my boy. And just like that, the billionaire cleaner found not only a good employee, but a perfect wife for his son. Dear story lovers, hope you enjoyed this interesting story. What lesson did you learn from it? Let us know in the comments. Also, tell us where you are watching from. We would love to read from you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. And to all my amazing returning subscribers, God bless you all. I love you. Mwah. Kisses. See you in the next one. Bye bye.